Sorry.
Oh, you want the agenda? Hold on.
Yeah, please. Thank you. I was just trying to look for that. Well, I'll be glad when we can all start meeting in person again.
Tell me about it.
Lorraine. You with us,
Okay.
Lorraine?
Say again?
It's Lorraine.
Hello.
Hi, Lorraine. Welcome.
Hi,
Lorraine.
I'm not, I can't see any of your pictures, so I can't tell who's going to be talking. So you're really going to have to say who's talking.
Okay.
My
Well,
other
this is-
computer's not working. This has like been a awful day.
I think everybody's experiencing computer issues.
Lorraine, we can talk about it. I care. You want to talk about it?
Thank Yeah, I might.
All right. Has everybody had an opportunity? This is Ben, by the way. Has anybody had an opportunity to look at the manifest?
Yes.
Yep.
John?
Yes.
All right. Somebody want to make a motion to approve?
I'll make well, we've got two different sets. We've got the ones for today and the ones from the previous meeting that we didn't have. So do you want me to make a motion for all of them?
Does everybody feel good with that?
Yep.
Donna?
Yep.
John?
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Go ahead, Tony.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we approve the accounts payable manifest from May 18th, 2020 and June 1st, 2020, and the payroll manifest of May 19th, 2020 and June 2nd, 2020.
I'll second. Donna.
Okay. We have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye, Ben Bartlett.
Hi, Donna Danis.
Hi, Tony Dumas.
Hi, John Moran.
Okay. Lorraine, did you get that?
Tyler?
No, we're still waiting for Tyler. Lorraine, did you get that?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So reports from assigned boards. Budget is not in season. Planning board? That's Tyler, right?
Yeah, Tyler's taking that over, so.
CIP, that's 300th? That's Tyler too, right?
I'm going to be doing CIP for Tyler when they start back up.
All right, so they're out of season, 300th? That's Tyler.
Yep.
Oh, how about Marston?
Well, I mean, there isn't anything to update. I think I updated you guys last time in terms of we've done pretty much everything we need to through phase one. Steve, thank you for posting that article in the forum. That was very informative. Appreciate that. The one thing I just need to do is, again, to urge people to stay off of the fields. I did go out there last week and I did see that there were some ATV tracks out on the field, and that's really disappointing to me.
Donna, can I talk for a second?
Sure.
I was out there today, and number one, the grass is growing. Two, thanks someone, they put up a police caution tape to make sure people don't go on it, which is new, which was good. The all the infield stuff has been put in the infield as it should be. They've done the last of the finishing of it. And all we'd love to do is get some more rain, because some of the grass is growing, but I wish it would grow faster.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% with you, Steve. And I think it was Matt and Chris probably who worked on getting the tape out there, and that's fantastic. The one challenge with that is that it doesn't completely shut off access. And so, Chris, again, I would love to get some signs out there that at least urge people to stay off. So do you think that that's something we can focus on getting done this week, Chris?
I think Courtney's here. I think she's got them ordered already.
Yes, I am talking with a sign company in Newmarket, I believe, and I'm working with him to get those signs made as soon as possible.
Thank you, Courtney. I appreciate that.
No problem.
As far as, Marston goes, all good, on track.
That's
Again,
great news.
Great work by all folks who have contributed to getting us to this point.
Yeah, a lot of hardworking folks to make this happen. So, and thank you, Donna, for, keeping everybody informed of the progress and all that stuff. Your leadership on that is top notch.
Hasn't been leadership. It's been, Matt Kukuchis and everybody else in town who's been doing it.
Everybody collectively. Town administrator report.
Before we start, did you guys want to approve the minutes?
We already did.
No, we did.
Oh,
amend the
I-
fact-
What are the
Minutes?
minutes?
We did
You did
minutes.
that before I came on then.
No, Lorraine, you're right. I'm sorry. We somehow skipped the minute.
I'll make an motion that we approve the minutes, both public and non-public, of May 18th, 2020.
Tony will second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. This is a meeting I didn't attend, so I will abstain.
In favor, Donna Danis.
Hi, Tony Dumas.
Hi, John Moran.
Okay. Minutes have been approved. Did we forget anything else?
I got everything now. Thank you.
All right. All right, Chris, you're up.
All right. Well, everybody continues to be healthy and reporting to work, so all good on that front. The Round Pond Road closure, we experimented this weekend with not posting anybody there and pulling the signs down to see if we'd change the behavior at all, and it was reported to be rather quiet. Good weather weekend, so maybe we're through the worst of that. You know, as other recreational options start to open up for people, the crush may be fading a little bit. The beach remains closed. The weekend was quiet there in terms of no big groups. Gunner said they had a couple instances of having to shoo people off. Like the huge sign posted at the gate that says this area is closed. And last week, I think since the last time we've met, we did have one huge group of 14 or 15 people out there at one time that the PD had to get rid of, mostly folks from away, a couple of town residents with a dozen or 13 of their friends from Portsmouth or something. So you really you either gotta come in from the water, or you've got to make a very conscious decision to go by closed signs to get there. Still no word from the state park on when they plan to open their beach. It's been not a whole lot of change going on in Pawtuckaway. They still aren't hiring anybody. Their campground reservations are blocked through the end of June, I think. And they still have not given us anything on when they intend to open their beach. So we're, I guess, treading water on that front. If they leave theirs closed indefinitely, I don't know what we'll do. We'll have, you and all of us will have to talk about how to deal with that. But we don't know much more than that now. In other good news, tax bills went out today, or bad news, depending on where you sit. So they will start to appear in mailboxes tonight or tomorrow. We've got to talk about town meeting tonight, and we can either do that now or we can do it later as part of the kind of reopening discussion. I think it might actually help to do it now, if you don't mind. Anybody object to barging into that?
No.
Good.
Go ahead.
We are scheduled for 27th, which is not as far away as we'd like, I think. The governor hinted on Friday that his stay-at-home order, stay-at-home 2.0, would possibly or likely be changing in 2 weeks. No idea what that means. It may include increasing the size of groups that are permitted to gather from the 10 that we're at right now. We have not identified an easy way to hold a town meeting if we can't assemble more than 10 people in a room at a time. If the number gets bigger, it might get easier. The NHMA has asked the governor for some flexibility in holding meetings. We're not alone in having postponed. There's probably 20 of us in the same boat. As late as this afternoon, I know Bonnie was talking with, I think, somebody in the AG's office and the NHMA. Still no word on if we're going to hear anything from the governor on that or not. So we're now 4 weeks away, and we have to start planning for a meeting or planning to postpone a meeting. And the ways to hold a meeting that we think residents might be comfortable with they aren't great. We can talk about doing something outside. We can try to figure out something in a school that involves using lots of rooms and a closed caption or a Zoom arrangement where we keep 10 or fewer people in any room, or spread around the gym and the cafeteria in some way. It's feasible. It's technologically challenging and tricky because you don't know how many people are going to show up, but feasible. Or maybe something outside somewhere where you can really spread out. The NHMA could be asking for something like a drive-through option, or you may have read articles about towns doing things with a combination of Zoom and drive-by voting or something. We haven't figured out how that would work in terms of doing things like amending warrant articles. It's easy to vote yes or no, but the town meeting has the authority to amend things as part of their discussion. We don't, it's not an easy way to make that happen. And of course, we have the option to postpone again until things get clear, or the group size limitation gets bigger, or some other miracle comes along. So I don't know what your thoughts are. If we want to start thinking about an outdoor arrangement or a multi-room arrangement, that's something we need to start working on now. And I could use any guidance you might have on that. Opinions, thoughts, better ideas.
Chris, what are you hearing from other towns that are in the same situation as far as what their contingency plans are?
Though I've seen, I was reading an article about Henniker today. Henniker is doing that multi-room thing in a school. 10 people or 9 people in a classroom with an assistant moderator and a Zoom hookup or something like that. I talked with the TA in Stratham today. They are just going to use big room. They have a couple of big rooms in their school and maybe overflow outside and try and space the seating sufficiently. I mentioned the drive-through option. That's really all I've heard. I'm sure there are other people trying all kinds of crazy things, but those are the most viable ones that I've heard, I think.
It'd be tough to do an outside with weather. I mean, that's all weather permitting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right, John. I was trying
Or use a collection.
to think about whether there was a place that had outside pavilion type of thing that was big enough that we could, at least do it under the pavilion.
So here's a thought. I don't know if you heard, if anyone had heard, but the New Hampshire, the legislature was actually meeting at the Whittemore Center in Durham because they could spread it. There's enough seats for the entire House of Representatives, right? Because there's like 560 of them or something like that. And there was enough seats for all of them to be in the same room, but spread out, each person several seats apart, so they could do their business. If we had access to something like that, or an outdoor stadium like the UNH outdoor stadium or Dover's or, you know, any other town that has a large, you know, a football field with stadium seating on both sides, then people could attend, you know, and spread themselves out within the seats. And then it's
How-
technologically less challenging to get the loudspeakers right in place for people to hear us. It's easier to get that done than it is to rig up, you know, a Zoom thing, and then all the logistics that go between transporting ballots from room to room to room to box to, you know, so on.
Tony, how are they handling like kind of like the interaction?
As in, what kind of interaction?
Well, being able to get up to speak and ask questions and that kind of stuff.
That I don't know. We'd have to think about. You know, people would probably just have to get up, walk down to a podium. We'd probably have to have one or two podiums on each side with a microphone, so that, you know, people could step up.
Yeah. Certainly, the legislators must be getting up and speaking, right?
Oh yeah, so they so many of them love to hear themselves talk. I can imagine. Right. But yeah, I mean that's a possibility. You know, we could do it on the town field right next to town hall. With, you know, just getting the folding chairs all spread out.
Again, weather permitted.
Weather permitting, that's the big, right? That, you know, it's the easiest option for us logistically, but it is most vulnerable to the weather. You know, the high technology option is not vulnerable to weather, but it's the most difficult for us to set up.
Tony, I mean, we're getting down to the wire here in regards to, you know, a meeting. These places, if we elect to try to go that way, you got to book that out way in advance, don't you? What's that? Like a stadium or something? Yeah, yeah. And then there's a cost factor in that as well. There might be. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't really know the. Well, I mean, it's an option to explore, I imagine. But then, how many people will be willing to go out of town to have a town meeting for our town? Is the next question. Right.
Depends on where it is, I think. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
How big of a space do you think we would need, Chris, in order to be able to, let's say, so typically town meeting gets what, 100, 150 people? How big of a space do you think we would need indoors to kind of allow them the appropriate social distancing? Like,
well, if you have the hardest part is not knowing how many people are going to show up. But if you had 150 people and they all had a 6-foot square box around them, that's 5,400 square feet.
What's that relative to the gym at the school?
I don't know.
What's the size of the gym at the school?
Now, how big's a basketball court? Anybody want to?
Any sports fanatics out there? Anybody?
But we
I'm looking it up.
We could also assume that most people come with someone else, like with a partner or a spouse.
Right.
Right. So it could be half that.
Yeah, if a basketball court is 5,000 square feet and turnout is low,
it's 4,700 square feet.
Could we realistically expect that people would come? And could we set it up in a way that would work? I probably, maybe. How do you know how many chairs to put together in what places? Or you let people grab their own chair and sit where they want? Or
yeah.
How many do you run the risk of unintentionally disenfranchising people that just aren't comfortable no matter what you do?
You do, but on the other hand, how long do we go without approval on a budget, right? Just in the spirit of any idea is not completely wacky. How big is the fire station relative to the,
I was thinking that same thing, because you could open the doors there and have the whole thing like an open,
yeah,
It's still covered.
yeah.
but you need all the equipment that's in there taken out.
Yep, you do, but you could still have parking at the school, right?
And you could still park on Priest Road or whatever right there, half of one lane.
Yeah,
Or up at Knights Field. Is that
Yeah.
what it's called? Yeah, Knights. Yeah. Yeah, that's a thought. We'd have to ask the fire chief how he felt about that. You'd have to stage the vehicles outside.
Chris, what do you think?
My gut is that it's smaller than the gym.
Okay,
But I could be wrong. Being able to open all the doors up has some value. If you get the PA right, you could stretch outside in good weather.
I mean, if it was bad weather, could we have some tarps or something out there? Can we order like a huge tent, you know?
Yeah. I think if that's the scale we're at, I imagine the gym plus the cafeteria at the school is probably a better choice.
Okay, yeah.
I'd
But
have to agree with that. I have to agree with that.
Yeah, because is there 4 doors that go into the cafeteria?
Two big double doors.
pairs,
Right.
yeah.
Well, there's 2. There's not 2 on the other side. I know I've been in there 100 times, but
I think there's two pair of double doors.
that's what I was saying, right? Have both of those open.
Personally, I would hate to see us have to postpone again. Because we're already halfway through the year.
Yeah, I don't want to see us postpone again. I mean, I'd like to get this done and over with, but I know safety is a concern.
Yeah. Remember too, in the gym, we've got the stadium seating in the back. We can use that and limit people to every other row. So we don't just have the square footage of the basketball court.
Right.
I think if we do it right, we've got enough square footage there to space it enough that people can attend without worry. And we can always recommend people bring masks, wear their masks and whatnot. And we can always have a box available for people that, maybe they can't afford one or whatever. But I think we could make that work. It would help, I think, to have some fans, exhaust. So, like from the double doors that go to the cafeteria on one end, and then the double doors on the other side that exit to the outdoors. If we put some fans in there, blowing air out both ways, but then have the doors behind where we sit, the ones that open to the outside, have them open so that the fresh air is coming in behind us, right? So we're constantly exhausting the air from the building
Yep.
through the entryways. That'll help, because remember, end of June, it's going to be a lot warmer in there. We're used to it being cold, but it's probably going to be hot in there.
It could be a 90-degree day, and it'd be really freaking hot.
Yeah, it would. Yeah. So
Because I don't think that gym's air conditioned, is it?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
I don't think it is. It's not
No.
in the summer when we're there.
So Chris, Dale is our health officer, is he not?
Yes.
And what's his input on this?
I haven't really talked with him about it. I think he would just say follow the guidelines, but I'll chat with him, see if he's got any thoughts on using the 2-room scenario at the school is not knowing the turnout. The risk is that you get surprised by a large turnout and it's really uncomfortable for people. There really is no fixing that once you commit to that space. But that may be the best we can do.
I mean, I know there's the stage is used for storage there, but perhaps we could kind of like try to help clean that out and use the stage for space in the cafeteria as well.
Yep.
We could do, like, in the cafeteria area, use a wider separation of seats for people that aren't comfortable being in the other room with the bigger crowd, right? That
We're
might
gonna-
be, that
Yeah.
might be more palatable to some people that are still nervous about going out.
You know, we're not going to please everybody by doing
No,
You know, so we have to, I mean, I understand looking out for the greater good, and I'm not, you know, against that by any sort of means, but I mean, we are in a situation where we do have to we can go round and round, but, you know, there is going to have to be a decision made on how we're going to handle this, and we're going to have to stick to it and say, it's the best that we can offer to get this done at this time.
Hey,
You know, I'd love to see outdoors. That'd be like the ideal, but you know, we could have a tentative plan where we do the whole thing indoors, you know, and then 3 days before we could still be at the school ground and just, you know, move it to the back. I don't know. I mean,
yeah, that could be problematic as far from an AV, you know, perspective. Hey, Chris, and the schools I think has changed a lot since I was there last. The gym and the cafeteria are the two largest rooms, and there's no other large room in the school. Is that correct?
Library.
Library, I think, is the next biggest.
Okay.
yeah, but I think the occupancy in there is, what, 75 people? It's not much.
And that's close because it's mostly bookshelves and stuff, right?
Yes,
Are they movable?
not all of them.
No.
It's kind of cramped.
Okay. So we could
there's a lot of material and stuff in the library that I don't think that would be fair to have it in there just because of all the books, the material. You know, you're having lots of people in there. Not like I mean, I hope not. No one's going to steal things and take things out of there, but
yeah. All right. So it sounds like the sentiment of the board is that we really want to try and push to hold that date, keep that date.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
let's figure out how many people and maybe you can work with Dale on this. Let's figure out how many people we think we could accommodate between the gym and the cafeteria to hold it there.
All right, that's enough to keep me moving.
yeah, 'cause I think I've been to the last 5 town meetings, and I really don't recall. I mean, I think the biggest number we've had, and we could check with the checklist, but I don't want to say like 220 or 230 was like really pushing our max that we've ever had show up.
The only thing, I agree,
There's nothing really too much on the ballot except
Oh,
for
there
that.
there is
Well, I mean,
SB2.
SB2.
that's what I'm saying. That's our main thing, you know.
Yeah, and the thing, John, is that, so I think 200 is a high estimate as far as number of people in the room at one time. Because if you think about it, SB2 is a ballot,
Yep.
secret ballot, and people come in and leave based on what they want to vote on.
That might happen that day, right? So I mean, we could be maxed out at one particular time at that, but then it could go down to normally especially if we can keep it on a time frame where people know. I bet you'd have people that just showed up for that half hour for that, and then
That's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
because it's happened before. So
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see what I can figure out on that, and I will get you something probably before your next meeting on what that would look like, because that'll be too close.
yeah, because what's our next meeting? The
15th,
or 15th?
yeah.
15.
Okay, thank you for that. That was all I had for the town administrator report portion.
Okay. So action items review from last meeting.
Did we have any?
I have Town Beach opening.
We were gonna wait on that, weren't we, Chris, to determine what Pawtucket was doing?
Yeah, that's where we left off. Yeah.
All right, so I guess it's right now it's at a standstill.
Yep.
So,
The reason why it's on a standstill now is just so I can clarify for myself, is because the fact that we're afraid that other people will come and use it that aren't residents.
Correct.
yeah, that's a possibility. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Hey, Ben,
Yes. Yes.
as a point of process, what I would appreciate is if at the end of each meeting, we review the action items coming out of this meeting, and that that they're captured specifically in an action item section of the minutes. So, for example, Chris just agreed that he's going to, kind of connect with Dale and talk about what are logical or what might work for us for
Yeah.
town meeting. So I would specifically like for us to have a list, a clear list at the end of each meeting of what the actions items are. I'd like to see a clear section in the minutes that says, here are the action items, rather than us getting to this point and saying, oh, I don't know if we had any from the last meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
Sounds good to me. Everybody else agree?
Yep.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So we're gonna roll right into assessing.
Yeah, you have what, three intent
Yeah.
things on your agenda?
Yeah,
Did
I didn't have a
all,
question.
Chris, did all the paperwork get signed at the town that needed to be? That was in the red folder.
Yes, through today, we have the signatures we need. If you
Okay.
approve more things, we may need more signatures, but yeah,
We had the
got a
three
good
needed
response
to make
last
it
week.
pass.
What was that, John?
We had all three. Well, we needed three, right, out of the five to make it to go.
Correct.
Okay.
All right, well, I'll make a motion that the board approves the intent to cut applications for map 40 or map 40 lot 8, map 52 lot 8A, and map 61 lot 16.
I'll
Second,
second that.
Okay. Tony made a motion. Donna second. All in favor? I, Ben Bartlett.
I, Donna Danis.
I, Tony Dumas.
Hi, John Moran.
Okay. That passed. General business. Recreation summer programs. Courtney.
Okay, so I am here tonight to hopefully get your approval on our plan to move forward with releasing our mini youth enrichment programs instead of summer camp 2020 this year. The governor released his guidelines for camp last Friday, and we found that the 6 pages of guidelines and mostly it's a lot to follow and a lot to handle, and I think it's unfair at this point for some of our younger staff to have to deal with that all day. So we sent out a survey and had about 119 responses, I believe, last week, and the results favored our smaller programs. So we would like to move forward, and we are hoping that we could release some sort of programs on July 6th, seeing that we need to have about a month of time to update our training materials. We need to secure staff still. We have a bunch of staff that are planning on returning, but we haven't been able to really secure any based on the fact of the unknown. make modifications to the program's activities and make sure that we have the appropriate safety equipment and cleaning supplies to kind of make camp work. So we would love to get rolling on it and have your approval. Happy to answer any questions that you might have.
I thought that mail out you did was great, because I was looking at the charts, and it really,
Thanks.
it did really clarify. It made it a lot easier for me to see what seems like the town was actually looking and who was concerned or not. And it shows that like over, 60% or more
Yep.
really was in favor of doing this and weren't really too concerned with some of the issues. So
Yeah, and I think a lot of towns that I've heard of, kind of in our surrounding areas, are canceling. And I do think it's our job to provide something. And I know that these kids are going to need something to do this summer. So to be able to provide them something, even being small programs, it would be really, I think, just great for them.
So, based on your memo, it sounds like you're going to be offering a variety of half-day programs.
Hey, I'm sorry. Can I just interrupt? Who did this come from?
This memo?
The memo?
Yeah.
From Courtney.
Me.
When did that come out, Courtney?
Probably midday today. It was a little last minute, but we didn't get our guidelines until Friday at about 4 o'clock. So,
because I don't see that. I did not receive it.
I think Chris sent it.
Yeah, you did get it, Donna.
I don't see it in my inbox.
It was sent to your Comcast address, not your town address.
That
Oh,
may
wait a
be-
minute. It was
may be
also
true.
sent to your Nottingham.
Okay, both of those may be true, but I don't see any emails from Courtney
It
today.
came from Chris, not
Nope, it
Courtney.
came from Chris. Yep.
Well,
I didn't get anything either. Not that it matters, but I just thought let you know.
yeah, that regardless of who it came from, I don't have it.
12:39 this afternoon. That's when I got it.
You can keep throwing stuff out, Tony, but I don't
No,
have it.
I'm trying to help you lock in on it.
No, I'm looking at it, and the only one I have from Chris at 12:36 is the roads update.
Donna, I can send it to you. I'll send it to you right now.
Chris, can you please figure out what's going on here?
Well, you've been getting special treatment and getting it sent to Comcast and to the town address all along.
I got two from Kelly. I got, when she sent out the meeting materials, I got one from the town and one from to my Comcast, and that seems to be working, but I didn't get this one.
Yeah, we can, I mean, I sent one at 12:37 that you got, and I sent one to the same group at 12:39, and I don't know what else I don't know what more I can tell you without looking at your computer.
Why don't you start sending stuff with a return receipt request?
All right.
And then people can, if you don't get a, return receipt from someone, then you'll know that it didn't go through. So Kelly, I'm sorry, Courtney,
Yep.
given that, could you give us a summary of what's in your memo?
Yes, absolutely. So we have we've been all over the place really because of the guidelines that are coming in and out from a bunch of different resources like our New Hampshire Association as well as the state. They finally released our guidelines on Friday that are specifically for youth day camps. So we have those, and the governor basically stated that towns or private entities may choose to do camps, or they may choose to not do camps. So what we have found, and I've been sitting on calls left and right with our different rec directors in the area and across the state, and basically have found that a lot of people have already canceled their summer programs, their day camps specifically, just because the guidelines are a little bit, they're very strict. So as it is right now, Some of the biggies that we can't do safely or accurately, or what we've done in the past, is we won't be able to do field trips at all, just based on the guidelines for transporting kids in a bus. Like specifically that one states we can't have, it's recommended that you sit 1 to a seat every other seat, and that there's no way we can handle that. Cleaning supplies, let me see here. So I've attached in that email, which Donna, I can send you a survey or results from the survey that we sent out to all of the to our before and after care people. We put it out on Facebook and we had about 119 responses from that. I've also attached in that packet the state guidelines that were given that were posted on the website, and then a draft of our tentative week 1 plans. We hope to release mini programs, which will be, right now we're going to try it slow. We would like to start with 1 in the morning and 1 in the afternoon. And then we should be able to work up, as long as the need is there, we could possibly hold 3 at a time. And that being that we could do 3 outside. All of our programming would be kept outside if possible. But if it were to rain, we have to have space inside to keep our groups together. The guidelines recommend that groups stay 10 people or less currently. So in all-day camp, we would only be able to house 30 kids. With these mini programs, we could potentially get 60 a day if we had that need. So in order to kind of plan all of these mini camps, we would have to make sure we can secure our staff in a timely way. And we only have, we're running on a month of time left, which we think we can do in a month.
So Courtney, what does it look like? What do the mini youth enrichment programs look like?
So we kind of categorize them out. So we would have like a fitness / outdoor event type game, like your typical soccer game, but with modifications that fit COVID and the restrictions. We also could do art. We could do STEM projects. We could figure out how to do a water balloon fight. You know, kind of just mini programs that allow the kids to kind of get out of the house, have that social interaction piece. And what you'll see in the survey is that a lot of these families, 60% of these families that took the survey were more interested in those than they were the all-day daycare.
So does one kid come all day, or does one kid come in the morning and then another group of kids come in the afternoon?
We would have one group of kids come in the morning. We would then have time to clean and sanitize in between, and then we would have a group in the afternoon as well.
Okay.
And to kind of avoid the double dipping of programs, I guess, and I think we would do kind of like split it up by age. So a huge kind of a concern that we've had in the past couple of years is that 6th grade parents don't want their kids playing with kindergartners, which we don't blame them.
Yeah.
So to kind of monitor that, we would switch every other week, and we would have like K through 3 in the mornings, and then in the afternoons it would be the same activity, but it would be geared towards grades 4 through 6. So it splits the ages up. It allows the kids to be with their classmates, to still have fun.
Yeah.
But it gets them in and out with little contact. We, will keep them to remain safe and distant and all that good stuff. So
are we doing it at the school or at the community center?
We would do it right here at the community center. The way it's looking at the school is we would only have the cafeteria and the gym to work with. And by keeping the groups of 10 kind of together, it makes sense. We can do more here at the community center than we could at the school.
Okay. And what about, does it alter like use of the restrooms or anything like that?
We usually do the buddy system anyways, but we would send up one buddy at a time, one kid probably allowed in the bathroom. Bridget and myself will be on site in our office all day. So we would have other staff members outside. We're going to be, I'm working on a cleaning schedule too, to make sure that the bathrooms are being cleaned every half hour, so often like that.
Okay.
Sanitizer in every place you can find it, and signage in every location so that the kids are constantly reminded to not touch their face and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah. I think I was frozen. I don't know. If
I just lost it.
Okay. Is there anything that you missed?
How do you overall feel about this, Courtney? You think
We,
this is going to work out well?
I am actually pretty confident in this strategy. I'm more confident in this than I am in a full day care.
Okay.
Yep. And I think by starting off slow, by kind of starting off with 2 programs a day, that's where we're headed right now. We're thinking if we start with 2 programs a day, release 2 weeks at a time, it'll give us enough time in between to make changes, or if the governor releases any more guidelines, we can adjust numbers and quantities and all that kind of, and all those things.
Anybody else have comments?
Nope.
Well, I'm happy to see that this be, hopefully, I'm in forward for this going through. You know, it's a good program to have in town, and I'd hate to see us close it down for a year due to this, where it can affect a lot of people. So, but you know, I understand the safety of it, and I think that from what you described, you know, it should work out well.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys have put a lot of good work into it, Courtney. Thank you.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Thank you.
So what are you looking for from us?
We're just looking for your support or the green light, so that we can kind of start hiring our staff and seeing the possibility. You know, the schedule that I attached is definitely still a draft. We're working on the correct pricing and making sure that it's still affordable, yet something that families feel confident that it will be safe and that these kids will actually get something out of it too. I think mostly we want to provide social, and that's something that these kids haven't had in a while. So I guess just looking for your approval and looking for the okay so that we can get started.
All right. Chris, do we need a motion for this, or just if board says go?
No, if none of you are telling us not to do it, that's the direction she's going to go, and going to start hiring this week and registering as soon as she's confident that she's got the staff to pull it off. So if you
Courtney, it's a go.
Yeah, I say go.
Good luck.
Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Courtney.
that's cool.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up is roads, huh?
Yeah, so as we've been talking about Ledge Farm forever, and getting through the first year of major work, learned a lot, learned that it's going to be a lot harder than we'd hoped. We're, I think, going to be quite satisfied with the results of the work that we started last year, but it's the road is tougher than we thought it was going to be, and we've engineered the entire length. We started out last year just doing that first section from Rocky Hill Road. Was about 1,700 square feet. Yeah, 1,500. Sean's here in my office. He's going to handle the more technical stuff and really explain what we've learned. But we've got to decide where to go from here now that we have the drawings and the price estimates for the full job. We broke it up into two remaining chunks. We had hoped that we could finish it in one fell swoop or over 2 years for not an exorbitant amount of money, but given the work that's got to be done, that's just not feasible. We're looking at what we're calling phase 2, which is from last year's work to Poor Farm Road, is in the neighborhood of $410,000. And then the remainder to the town line is at something like $870,000. So we're going to have some decisions to make. I think before we get too far down into the dollar side of things, maybe Sean can explain the work that we did this year. We've talked about how we had some problems that materialized in the spring after getting through the winter, and Sean can explain those and what we're doing to correct it. And then we'll talk money after that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Turn your volume down.
I got to turn my audio off.
So last year's first phase, we had some problems this winter where water was trapped under the new asphalt that was laid. It was trapped between the ledge that was removed and the underneath the surface. We contribute that to the pond that sits off to the side of ledge farm as you come around that big rock in that hill. So what we're going to do is go in there with some what they call feathers and wedges, and we're going to remove the ledge approximately 4 feet deep, put an under drain in, relieve the water out of that pond, which is contributing to the water that's settling in the road in the wintertime, and then put another under drain across in the middle of the road, and then repave it. And that should cure that problem. But what also happened this winter in the dirt section.
That's a town expense to fix that, right?
Pardon me?
We're paying to fix that, right?
Yes.
Some of it.
Right. Some of the pavement that failed will be on advanced as far as how they applied it. But as far as the rock removal that's going to need to be done to relieve the water, yes, it's a change order that's being drawn up now. So the dirt section this past winter brought to light that the soils are poorly, poor soils, and they drain poorly. It was especially noted in the area from Poor Farm Road heading towards Epping as you start up that slight incline by that red house up on the right. That it was just a quagmire of mud. If we had gone with what the original plan was, just to shim and overlay with 9 inches of gravel and pave it, would have been an epic failure of pavement last year. So with that said, and seeing that and going through all the seasons, it was determined that we need to do a total box out. We need to install an under drain and closed drainage system with curbing to eliminate all that. And that's what's driven the cost up. So the first section, phase 2, from where we left off in phase 1, to Poor Farm Road would be $407,000. And then from Poor Farm Road to the Epping line is $869,000. And that's all to do with, that's the drainage.
Sean,
Yes.
how long is it from the where you guys left off last year to Poor Farm? How many feet is that?
For where we left off to Poor Farm Road, that's about 2,000 feet.
Okay. And it was 1,500 feet for the work that we did last year?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you suspecting you might run into some similar issues as you did with last year's project with granite or ledge rather? And
No, because we have drill reports for refusal for that area, and we're already through the worst part of the ledge, which was in the first phase.
okay. All right. And I assume this would be put out to bid, and we wouldn't necessarily have the same company do it. Is that correct, John?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Anybody have any questions?
I know nothing about road construction. And I'm just kind of confused about all this.
Well, right now, I'll tell you, $1.2 million. I know we're talking about a different thing. to fix that whole road is unacceptable.
Well, I
don't-
mean, that's like
But
what I'm struggling with, John.
I don't see that number to be even feasible to go to people in town to say we're doing 2 miles of road at $1.2 million is just, it's just, I'd rather just buy a new grader and pay somebody to grade the road every week and keep it smooth, you know, I mean, it just seems too astronomical to be even on an agenda at that price.
Anthony?
Even 400,000 just to go for that section, just to go to Poor Farm, which is I don't know how much work's been on that section for over the years when we dumped into that section of the road. Then to put 400,000 just to I
Well,
find that to be
John, I mean, we have to ensure that if we're going to continue to make improvements on that road, it's got to be done and done right.
I'm throwing out my opinion on what I'm thinking right now.
Yeah, I'm with John. I mean,
do a conversation here.
2 billion. I mean, come on.
Yeah. No, I understand the price is, it's a tough pill to swallow, but either we spend the money, and I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying I'm in favor or what have you, but either we spend the money now to ensure that that road is done and done right, or we're going to be paying more down the road.
Well, I mean, what else could 1.2 million buy us in the town versus that one road?
Probably fix other roads, overlaying pavements and all that other stuff, right, Sean?
Yes, that's correct. You could do a lot of overlaying with $1.2 million.
Yeah, we could even do stuff beyond the roads for 1.
Okay, but then, Donna, how do we solve the issue with that being a main road coming from Epping to cut across into Deerfield? How do we address that issue? The road's failing.
I don't know the answer to that, Ben. I just can't picture myself standing up in front of people in town and saying,
Yeah, I know that is a tough pill to swallow. I get it.
I'll say, yeah, I think that price tag is kind of high, and unappetizing. But then, I'm thinking back to when we started this process a couple of years ago. We identified it as a failing road. We identified the potential liabilities to the town if, somebody got hurt on that road due to conditions that we were aware of and didn't fix. And we decided that, hold on.
Sorry.
As I say, we decided that, public safety being a primary concern, that it was time to get that road fixed. And granted, we didn't know what we didn't know. But, are we really going to say now, public safety is important, but only if it's inexpensive? You know what I mean?
oh no, I think we're, I'm sorry, John, go ahead.
No, I'm going to say that when putting out public safety and stuff, that road has been around for 200 years or whatever. I've been living in this town for 15 years. I'd like to see the report of how many accidents have occurred on that road due to the road condition itself. We've always kept it maintained, graveled. Yeah, it gets bumpy and dirty in the mud season, and it gets a little muddy in the mud season. But you travel that road today, it's perfectly safe to drive on. There's nothing that's going to cause a problem on that road unless it's you, the driver. So,
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, that's people in town that you take a look at a lot of other roads like Poor Farm Road, which is heavily traveled also.
Not as much as Ledge Farm.
Well, there's a lot of it goes over, but still, I'm saying heavily traveled.
Yeah.
And that road's in way worse condition than Ledge Farm, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, I mean,
I'm throwing out.
But this is where we're at right now, where we had 30, 40, 50 years of putting Band-Aids on this road led us to where we are today.
The number changes the discussion. And I'm not saying,
it really changes, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not saying that that public safety isn't a concern or that it shouldn't be done. I'm just saying that at 1.2 million, we shouldn't be just sitting here in a meeting going, yeah, okay, let's go forward.
No, I agree. I agree. So,
We should have a reset button about the pros and cons or what the other alternatives are.
And to put this money out front, and again, I'm just throwing this out there too. We don't know what that school project's coming out either for people due to taxes.
yeah.
And that could be a $3 million thing. To hit another million on top, people are, I mean, people are going to scream.
What's
I think it's,
You want to turn off your audio and jump in?
Yeah, Chris?
I'm just having a hard time at the amount of money for the road. And I know the traffic count that we've done and the work we've done on it, but fixing the major turn coming off that hill going down was a real concern because of the ledge, the steepness, and I'm very happy we addressed that section. But I've been driving that road for years, and I don't see the necessary for a cost factor like that to fix it. And
Chris?
I know you might call it a Band-Aid, but I'd rather keep putting the Band-Aid on it.
Chris?
Ben, did you have a specific question?
Yeah, I did. Bonding.
Yeah, so we wouldn't recommend that we go and ask for 1.2 million today to finish. That's not within reach. We proposed bonding 600,000 a couple of years ago for this road and didn't get that approved. So we understand the political reality of it. The motivation for fixing the road is both safety and maintenance. It's outside of emergency lanes. It is far and away the most commonly complained about road. It's the busiest dirt road in town at 500 cars a day. And it is a maintenance headache is an understatement probably, but it consumes a lot of resources each year. That doesn't mean that you have to fix it, but those were the things that led us to focus on this road to begin with. It's a lot of greater time, materials, a lot of unhappy customers. And again, the busiest dirt road in town by probably by quite a bit. It carries, I'm going from memory, but it's probably 2.5 times the traffic that Poor Farm does, just to put it to scale. So that's what got us to Ledge Farm to begin with, were all those factors. And obviously it's getting it to where we want it to be maintenance free is not within reach for any given year. So that's the end of that thought, but you keep going, or if you have questions around that. We can talk about what our short-term options are too, when you're ready.
Roll right into that. What is the short term? Chris or Sean, maybe you want to comment short-term options? Am I muted?
No.
Oh, we hear you.
Can Chris and Sean hear me?
I can hear you. Chris is having some problems.
Okay. Can you roll right into what some of the short-term options could be?
Short term.
Yeah,
just.
Okay, so the work that we started last year for phase 1, the Rocky Hill, 1,700 feet, that we are contracted and ready to finish. We have some repair work to do and then a top coat to put on. That is ready to go. We have the money. We encumbered a bunch of money last year for this project. So phase 1, the work that was started, will be put to bed this year without any additional funds. That we're not going to leave anything partway done. We're ready to finish that and correct the problems, and there'll be no budget impact there. By encumbering a bunch of money in December, you set aside basically the vast majority of your operating budget surplus from 2019. We encumbered that for this job so that we would walk into 2020 with some breathing room on the next phase. So we have some of that left over from last year, and then we had proposed and on the warrant for town meeting is a $300,000 warrant article for this project as well. So your short-term options are, I presume you're going to want us to finish what we have. We've got the money, we've got the plan, we've got the contracts. We're ready to clean that up and put the top coat on so it's 100%. For 2020, we can go forward with the plan for town meeting, use our encumbered money, and then ask for the $300,000 in the warrant article. That money will be sufficient to finish phase 2 to Poor Farm Road, if you wish. You can go into town meeting and say so that's option 1. Option 1 is finish to Poor Farm Road and figure out the remainder in the future. Option 2.
Clarify that again. Option 1 is to
Finish.
do the coating on the upper part of Ledge Farm and to finish to Poor Farm.
No, that's phase 2. Poor Farm right, Sean? That was phase 2 or Chris?
Yes, the phase 2 is the end of last year's work to Poor Farm.
Right. So you have, as John, I believe what they were saying is you have all the money to finish phase 1 from Rocky Farm to what, 1,500 feet, I think you said?
Yeah.
So all the work that they've done, they have enough to finish that.
Turn your volume off.
Okay. So the 300,000, again, just to refresh, make sure that we're clear for everybody. The 300,000 we're proposing at town meeting is for phase 2.
2.
Correct.
Will 300,000 completely finish phase 2 with the new numbers we just got?
Yes, 300,000 plus the money encumbered at the end of last year. So we have some in our pocket. Those two together will finish to Poor Farm Road, and with some room to spare with the estimates that we have right now.
And the money we have from last year is how much?
180-ish. So 300 plus 180 is more than the 407 that we have estimated for phase 2.
So, okay.
Okay, we clear?
Yeah.
Okay, that leaves still phase 3, which in today's dollars is 870,000, and we have no visibility of where that money is going to come from. Like that's the big number that we don't have an answer to that. So that's option 1. Option 2 is to ask the voters to not pass that 300,000 warrant article and basically stop the work where we finished last year. You just hit the pause button, to provide some tax relief in this current year might be palatable, and see if perhaps federal stimulus money appears, where we're fully engineered now, or we're shovel ready. We would have a project that would be perhaps viable in a stimulus program like prior stimulus programs. No idea if such a thing happens. It's been talked about, but that would be the dream scenario if we were to stop now or stop after phase 2 this year. Would be to finish with some kind of Hail Mary from Washington, so to speak.
There's no guarantees for that.
Not at all. No.
So I'd like to hear what the rest of the board members' thoughts on what Chris just said. Should we go forward and ask for that warrant article to finish that remaining piece for phase 2, or do we not? And hopefully some kind of grant comes through. As John pointed out earlier, we've got that school project that's coming up at some point that's going to hit the taxpayers. So, I mean, we got a lot to think about in regards to projects.
Chris, did you finish laying out all your options?
Yes, there's really, this year there are two. Do phase 2 or stop right where we are.
I'd like to hear from the rest of the board members and on their thoughts.
Well, the real project of phase 2 is over 400,000. Let's not, even though we saved the money last year, the 100, whatever, what's the total is going to be? Are we going to spend all the 180 we had and the 300? Is it going to be a $480,000 project? To finish
407.
or 410?
Yeah.
The estimates is 410 right now.
Give or take, right? Chance of going over?
It includes a contingency, so probably not too high a chance, but no guarantee.
I mean, that's one of my concerns, John, is there's a lot we didn't know about phase 1.
Right.
And what don't we know about phase 2? And how do we know phase 2 isn't going to come back and be 500,000?
And I understand it's a traveled road in the frequency, but there's only like 4 houses on that whole section. And again, I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm going to speak my mind just to tell you where I'm going. You know, if people feel uncomfortable driving the road, there's obvious other alternatives. You can go 156, you can go 152. It is not the only road to go on. You can drive slower. At over 400,000 just to go to Poor Farm, which that's a nice wide section of road. It's got, I have a hard time swallowing that price. And I'll have a hard time supporting that. If anybody asks to say, do you think we should spend 400,000 on that? Right now, I don't think I'm going to, I can honestly say, I don't think I'm going to say yes. And I'm just being upfront and honest with you guys. I'm not going to hide it or sugarcoat it.
Hey,
There.
Looks like we just lost him.
Who?
Ben? Ben, you there? Yeah, I think we lost him.
Because, I also have another question. Just throwing this out because it's all popping in my head right now. The part from Rocky Hill that all the way up to the top of Ledge Farm, which wasn't paved, when Falzone paved it, how much excavating did he do on that road or repair on it? Or he just go and pave the sucker?
Don't know.
We were all happy when he said he's going to pave it. We're all like, sweet. But how much fixing or what did he do that? Because that's a long stretch from Rocky Hill to where it was before. And again, it seems like it's holding up, and we're going to code it over again. But
It's high ground too, right?
Sure, but again, I don't know the geography, of the what's underneath, or if it was more this or that there compared to what's on the other side, but again, in this time and era, we talk about being financially conscious because we're worried about our budget, we're worried about money for this. Our tax revenue's down because we're not getting as much registration in. We're worried about this. To propose 400,000 to fix a wide dirt road that's very passable and I don't consider to be in that bad shape. Again, I can't. I'm not trying to say I'm talking myself out of it, but I'm having a hard time every time I think about it. And I think a lot of people would be on the same spectrum that I am when you hear that number.
Yeah, the only the reservations I have, I'm thinking ahead to, how long is this pandemic thing going to last, right? How long are these circumstances that are threatening our finances going to stay in place? I mean, ultimately, I want to see this road taken care of. I don't want to, certainly don't want to abandon the project. You know, there may be some value in pausing it for a year. You know, finish phase one, pause on phase two for a year, maybe bank that the money that we set aside if there's a way to do it. But on the other hand, I think, what can we do that serves the largest amount of Nottingham citizens? And I think carrying it up to Poor Farm Road, but not beyond, right? I mean, why should we service transit to Epping, right? Epping's, you know what I'm saying? If we did up to Poor Farm, that would serve more Nottingham people than people that are just transiting that road who don't live down there.
I prefer probably even to see, and again, just throwing this out there, from Epping to Poor Farm.
That's
if we're going to drop some money into it, again, then to do that, I just don't consider the part of the road we're talking about to be in the dire straits of where we're at to spend $400,000.
Yeah, but that's the stretch of road that turns into a bucket of quicksand every year. That's the section of road that gives us, the most. It gives us the most amount of complaints. It gets complaints from the bus companies and the fire truck and the ambulance. There's those times of year that those large vehicles can't go down there. That pretty much aggravates everybody that needs it at that time of year. So, and that's the other side of the coin, is just finishing phase two and then pausing the project until our finances look better. That's the other thing I'm thinking about. We got to chew on all these options. I'm not really sure what.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to come to a decision on this tonight. I'm certainly not ready to make a decision. I'm like John, I'm very concerned about the amount of money.
Yeah.
Given where we are, I think it would be irresponsible for us to make a decision without doing some more homework on this.
Yeah, we don't need you to make a decision tonight, but if we're going to change tack, we should all get on the same page prior to town meeting, because there is that warrant article waiting there. So chew on what you have and let us know your questions, and we can talk about it again in 2 weeks.
We don't all have to be on the same page at town meeting. If one of us doesn't support it, I mean, it'd be nice for all five, but
right.
No, it is what it is.
Exactly.
So.
Yep.
Oh, there's Ben.
Any questions, Mr. Bartlett?
I lost part of the conversation, but I think I get the gist of what everybody is saying. And, I want to be clear that I fully support the board's, what Donna was saying. No decision should be made tonight for obvious reasons. We have a lot to digest here for, cost and all that, but we do owe it to the town to ensure that we're spending their money wisely and so on. But I think this is still worth looking into as far as how to somehow cover this. At the very least, phase two, and I'm not sure how much I lost on the conversation there, but I would be, again, I understand we're not looking for a decision tonight, but I would be in favor of finishing up until Poor Farm Road and then stop at that point and then make a decision later at a later date, as I think Donna had pointed out, until our finances are better.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know, Ben. It's just kind of like, what are the consequences of even doing that? right?
No, I know. This is obviously this has been a sticky subject for I want to say at least a decade anyway. But Chris, can you maybe get some information in regards to how many accidents we've had on that road? Wasn't it not long ago? A ditch had swallowed up a car, didn't they? Was it last winter?
Yep, our accident data isn't really street number specific all the time, but I'll get what I can.
Yeah, okay. And what's the average, and maybe this is a question
And I'll resend you those traffic counts too. And
okay.
what you'll see from those traffic counts is that the bulk of the traffic, the highest counts of traffic are from Poor Farm to Epping out of all of that.
Yeah.
So it's not traffic going from Poor Farm up to the square and back. It is traffic.
That's what we're talking about, the 410,000 right now.
Right. It is traffic from the square and from Poor Farm to Epping. That's where the volume is, and I'll resend you all that stuff so you can get.
Yeah, and Ben, I think it's good to get the data on accidents
Absolutely.
and such, but it's only as valuable as how is it relative to other roads in town, right? And how is it relative to other work that maybe need to be done?
I totally agree. I see your point, and I'm just throwing ideas out there for topic of discussion. And actually, I've got a quick question for Sean if he's still there. What is this? A half mile we're talking about? Is he still there?
Miss.
Oh, sorry. Ooh, a lot of feedback. We're talking about a half mile, right, Sean?
For phase 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. So just help educate me anyway. What would be the average cost of fixing a mile of road? I mean, I was just researching some stuff, and I'd be curious to know what you've come up with as far as what the average cost would be.
Those costs are just all over the place. It depends on what the conditions are that you're working with, and the soils below. I mean, you can go as a simple shim and overlay, which will be a minimal $200,000, and then you do the full depth reclamations, which we're under because we have poor draining soils and we have under draining concerns, and which escalate the cost.
Right.
So it's all to do with the materials, and it was actually, it was a good thing that I saw what happened this winter out there, because what was proposed to go on would have failed, and it would have been wasted money.
When you say fail, would you think a season? It would have been a season?
Yeah, the way that that section of Ledge Farm Road, it won't drain, the water just sits right there. 9 inches of crushed gravel and 3 inches of asphalt would have broken all up.
Okay.
I mean, we had wheel ruts that were between 18 and 24 inches deep, and we went out there and we applied 1.5 inch crushed gravel, which helped take up the moisture and stiffen the road back up. And that's a lot of the problem out there, is that there's no rock in the gravel anymore. And years of sanding have clogged up all the granulars that allowed the draining to happen. So it's just compounded things that have happened that have caused this road to be where it's at. And you don't know what's underneath of it, what it's sitting on to begin with. I mean, you're going back, it's probably a horse and buggy trail that started out.
Yes. Yeah, okay.
So Sean, $400,000 for a half a mile of road?
Yes.
Okay.
And I've looked it up, and a mile of road could be anywhere from $1 million to $6 million, as Sean had pointed out, in regards to what type of work is needed. So I know it's only a half mile, but anyway, like Donna said, we're not looking to make a decision tonight. That's obviously something we all need to chew on for a little bit. And
right, these prices are shocking. I mean, I was totally taken back when I saw it too, but it's like I said, not to be redundant, what went on this winter dictates what goes on, what the worst case scenario is, and that's how these dirt roads moving forward, as we're going to pave them or attempt to, that's how they're gonna need to be looked at.
Yeah.
Because they look great right now. That thing's hard as nails out there right now and smooth. But that doesn't happen in the wintertime, especially when we go through the cycles that we're going through now, where we get freeze-thaw cycles every other month.
Okay. Thank you, Sean. I appreciate your input. And, anybody else have any questions in regards to this?
Hey, Sean, can you give us a maintenance cost or figure out a maintenance cost? I know you probably didn't have it break it down, but just a rough idea what the maintenance cost was on that 1 or half mile of road.
Yeah, I can do that. I've actually been keeping some records of gravel.
Truckloads or power truckloads, or do we spend 30, 40 hours on that road trying to maintain it? You know, over the course, or was it 80 hours or?
I have that information stored in a spreadsheet. I gotta collect it and I'll have to get back to you, but do you want that to include winter maintenance out there as well? Or I can give you some.
That's the winter maintenance is the most.
Everything.
Most
Right.
we're going to see on there. It would be beneficial for us to know that if you're spending $50,000 a year on that 1 mile road or half mile road, that might make the 400 look a little bit more appealing.
Yeah, I understand.
If you're only spending 5 or 10, that makes a 400 look a lot less appealing.
Yep,
That's good, John.
I'll get that information to Chris and he'll get it out to you as soon as I get it to him.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else, Tony?
I'm good.
Okay. All right. I think we've kind of beaten this one up a little bit. We can move on to the next one.
Yeah, let me just say one more thing, Ben, on that.
Yeah, go ahead.
None of this ledge farm discussion, the way we have it modeled, impacts the other asphalt maintenance that we would do this year. We have budgeted, and of course the budget needs to get approved, but we are operating with about 300,000 in the operating budget that is as we're currently planning to work on other roads other than ledge farm. So that was the third piece you got from Sean today, was some of the options we're looking at for this year's work outside of ledge farm. So this is, while it is huge numbers and all consuming in lots of ways, it's not the only thing we're doing this year. So we'll have a little bit more refined list there shortly, but we are doing other things other than ledge farm for several thousand feet of other roads in town.
Okay. All right. Anything else? No? Okay. Reopening plan.
Okay. So the governor hinted Friday afternoon that the stay-at-home order 2.0, stay-at-home 2.0 might be relaxed or tweaked or somehow modified in 2 weeks. So we're anticipating that, and we're looking at what we've been doing since closing. This is mostly about the community center. The building's been closed, but we've had in-person business going on all along here in dribs and drabs. Some things that you just have to do in person, like retrieving a pistol permit or a license plate, or a plan review for a building permit. Some things are just ridiculously inefficient to do by mail. In anticipation of things relaxing a little bit and kind of realizing what the reality is day to day, we're ready to formalize that soft reopening in a way that can get some structure to things, particularly for the town clerk. She's swamped, and do it in a way that we can try and limit the number of people in any given office at any given time. Our biggest worry is that we have a line of people waiting at the town clerk's office or up and down the hall, and losing any distancing control. So what we're prepared to do is launch an appointment-based system for functions here in the town offices that require being here in person or are just make a lot more sense to do in person. The system's pretty much up and ready to go. Folks can log on or click on a site and pick an appointment time that works for the office that they need to visit. We can block out the right amount of time and hopefully get more people in and out of here more efficiently while still maintaining some distancing. We'd be ready to do that probably as soon as a week from today, regardless of what the governor does, but we think we're ready to go there. The police department's ready to reopen the lobby. The library is drifting toward a appointment-based system, I believe, where in addition to their curbside service, they're probably going to start opening up some functions or allowing people back in the building on a one or two at a time basis, on an appointment basis. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on that, see if you're comfortable with it. I mean, we have masks and cleaning supplies and things here. I think the staff is generally itching to get back to something close to a routine. And so that's what we're thinking, but wanted to hear from you if you were comfortable with us heading in that direction, or want us to go slower or faster, or what's your pleasure?
Well, we could do this in phases, right? Reopening in phases would be an option, right? Am I muted?
Am I the only one
Nope.
hearing nothing?
I hear you guys.
Okay. Chris, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. Phases. We could do this in phases, correct?
Yeah, we can do it kind of onesie twosie, or one office at a time to try it out, or we can.
And what about marking the? You see in other stores, retail stores, and all that stuff, marking tape on the floor to mark the 6-foot rule there. I mean that's something to think about as well, right?
Yeah.
Especially the town clerk's office.
Yeah, the layout's a little tough. I mean, you can't fit that many people in that waiting area there with a 6-foot box around them.
Is it, if you're doing it by appointment, is that necessary at this point?
Not if it's by appointment.
No, that's the idea, is that you schedule them in such a way that they don't overlap.
Yeah, but
Maybe there's one person sitting in the hall waiting for the appointment before them to end. And
I've been to the town clerk enough where even when you set appointments for that position there, when she has to call in because the guy's coming to register his trailer and he doesn't have the right number on there, and there's an argument that goes forward and she's calling Concord, that 5-minute appointment can turn into a half-hour thing, and then your whole appointment for the rest of the evening went out the window.
Well, she's going to have to allow time between, right? They can't be back to back to back. It's going to have to be, an appointment, a big gap, an appointment, a gap.
But with their limited hours, I mean, how many she's going to do? 5 appointments in the, or 6 appointments in the 3 hours she's open?
yeah, that is actually.
I mean, that's really nothing for people.
Well, the number of transactions that have to be done in person is the driving factor here, and there's really very few. If you need to pick up a license plate for a newly purchased vehicle, for example, you're going to need to, what she's doing right now is saying, call me when you get here and I'll meet you at the front door. So she's juggling all of that. She's working at the desk and then taking phone calls, and then taking these phone calls where I'm here at the door. Leave the desk, walk up, meet somebody at the door, hand them their license plate. It's horribly inefficient in that regard.
She doesn't have a deputy now, right?
Correct.
There's no one we can appoint.
And is 30-minute appointments for the town clerk. And if with her, she's open 16 hours right now in terms of posted office hours, that is enough slots to cover the newly purchased vehicle registrations. it's not enough to cover all of the things that could be done online, but people would prefer to do in person.
That's what you're gonna find. A lot of people they're gonna say, "Oh, it's open now," and they just don't want to do it online.
Understandable, and that.
I mean, I handle it all day long with customers. It's just they refuse to do it online. They want to talk to somebody on the phone. They want to see somebody. They want to do it that way, and that's going to bog it down. I mean,
yeah, it might. You know, we might clog it up with things that don't need to be done in person. We won't know until we try. But
she can still encourage people to do that kind of stuff online, right? I mean, she can prioritize her appointments.
Yep. And this is not our rollout of this and that phasing approach. We didn't plan on broadcasting that the town office is open again. You know, we'd make that information available to the people that were registering a newly purchased vehicle or applying for a pistol permit or applying for something that they need to be in the building for. It would be very easy for those folks to make an appointment because we'll call out and we'll draw their attention to it or email them or tell them whatever it is. But we did not plan on this stage including a big public announcement that the town offices are open again. Because that's when the flood of optional traffic would start. And that's what we're trying to avoid.
I'm okay with your approach, Chris.
Yeah, I'm good with it too.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
yeah, we have to try something. So
Doing this forever doesn't work.
Nope.
You know, so
What can we do to try to get Lori some help?
well, she's got to find a deputy. I think that the training curve is hard. You know, so much of that work is the DMV related stuff.
Right.
And that's a long, and you have to be trained and certified before you can touch anything by yourself. So there is no quick solution. I think
Is there something that we can do is there something that we can do, like maybe help her have somebody that just answering the phones or something while she handles registrations and so on, just to help, you know, at the very least the phone systems or something, or greet people at the door while she can focus on the task at hand.
Yeah, we are actually in this office. We're getting a lot of phone calls. You know, people trying to call directly, or they call here looking for the town clerk because they don't know that the town office and the town clerk are different things. So Betsy and Kelly are actually shaving some of that stuff off. But where it's motor vehicle stuff, you really need to hear it from the clerk herself. So I'll certainly have that conversation with Lori again if there's anything else we can do to. You know, minimize the phone burden, but
that's not a bad idea. And to Ben's point, is like if she's spending time running out the door to hand out plates, you know, I mean, that's
logistics, not processing. So if we could find a way to help her with that,
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
It frees her up to do the things that no one else can do,
or setting appointments or something like that.
Yeah, this appointment system doesn't require her to do anything other than tell somebody to do it. It's all online and self-directed from the customer point of view.
Yeah, the problem with that is that then anybody can make an appointment for anybody, for anything, right?
Depends on how we publicize that information. We'll try at first making that link available on the town website, but ideally it's people are sent there after a conversation with the clerk. For example, I'm trying to register a new vehicle. They will be instructed where to find it. Well, again, we're not making a big showy splash of this to start.
That's what maybe we're
soft rollout, so there's soft opening, so to speak.
Yeah, except for the fact that we're talking about it tonight.
Yeah, I know.
Anything else in the reopening?
Yeah, actually, just on a related note, when is the next Nottingham newsletter going out? Because we could certainly, you know, if it's going out in the next few weeks, we could certainly put a paragraph in there on, what is best to do during an appointment and what is better to do online.
Deadline was today, wasn't it, Chris?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
5 o'clock.
I asked them to send me the deadlines and I did not get a response from them.
Yeah, Ben wrote something for today's deadline.
Oh, really?
It wouldn't be a bad idea to republish the town telephone directory, because you were saying people don't know one number from the other. So getting it out there, refreshing people's memory, or giving them a hard copy in the newsletter, of course, that they could tape to their fridge, and then they've always got the numbers, maybe for the next edition now.
So Ben, with all due respect, I think, when things like that are done, they should be shared with the board.
I thought I shared it, but if I didn't, I will resend it to everybody. I'll get it to you.
I don't think I have anything else on other reopening subjects. Fire department's still on still doing their permits the same way. I think that's everybody.
Are we done with all that? I have just an off-subject conversation.
Anybody else want to add to that?
No, I'm good.
Okay, John.
So my mother is doing still maintenance and cleaning and to the old town hall, and an issue has arose about the drainage system of the sinks and toilets that are and again, no one's checked it out or not. I'm just going that things don't drain like they're supposed to over there, which leads me to believe that there could be a septic or plumbing issue with how old that system might be. Just pointing out there's a forefront that if we open that building back up in the future to rent it out or something like that, we might want to keep that in the back of our minds that we address that system, because I don't know how old that septic system is, or if it's ever been drained or ever been maintained, or since who knows when.
Yeah, well, while it was last in use by the child care program, Dougie was emptying the tank routinely. That's probably the last time we've been over there, but it hasn't had any use since then. So we'll check it out.
Well, I don't know if the pipes could have, I mean, she just said things don't, when you flush the toilet, the water don't go down. It fills up the toilet and then eventually triggers down. And then when you dump things in the sink, it fills the sink and then it's just a slow trickle as it eventually goes down. So it doesn't flow like it's supposed to. And I just don't, I'm just putting it out there so that we know for future wise. Hopefully I'll get in there in the next week or two with her and see what she's doing for painting and, whatever she's, cleaning up, just so I can give you guys a better report, maybe with some pictures or stuff like that. But just to see where that might be addressed. I just don't want to see, down the road that we have an expense on this project that we're not expecting, or if we want to continue to use it as a public building.
That's another whole discussion, John.
I know it is, but I'm just throwing it out there now as to.
Yep, it's a good heads up.
Put it in the heads up for thoughts, Better have a little bit of a foresight plan than none at all, so. But we can address that later on. Obviously, we have other things that are more important. That's all I got.
Anybody else? Okay. Oh, do we have anything for non-public tonight?
I don't.
Anybody else?
Chris, you got my cheat sheet for setting up Zoom meetings for all the board and committee chairs?
Yes.
And anybody stumped by it, or is it working out?
I have not heard of any problems. We have, let's see, well, we've had staff involvement in just about every board meeting, but I think some of the less staffed groups are starting to think about meetings. So that's when we're gonna see challenges, I suspect. But I know where to find you.
Okay. I would recommend to them to do like a trial run meeting just to go through the motions. And then if that helps, if it generates questions from them, they can reach out directly to me.
Okay.
Oh, has anybody heard anything about we had a farmer's market going every year. Is that going to be stopped because of the COVID? I was always an outdoor market, so.
It's not
The
a
one-
town run thing, is it?
Huh?
Not a town run thing, is it?
No, but I mean, it's on town property.
That was at the library, that one?
Yeah. It's on
Yeah,
property.
that's been maybe 3 years since it was active.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
No.
I didn't think, I thought it had last
Maybe
year,
two.
but
It
that was,
was,
I did it last year.
the regular one was 2 library directors ago,
There's still something going on there.
but they may have something else I'm not aware of, but
Just be ad hoc.
because, that's going to be coming up in another month or two, so I'm sure somebody's going to ask about it. Motion to adjourn?
No, Ben, could you please review the action items from the meeting?
Yeah, I was just reviewing that. Hold on. Sorry, my computer is freezing up here. All right. Sorry. Give me a second here. Technology is supposed to make life easier. All right.
Ben says he lost his connection.
Oh,
I have, what I have for the review action items for the next meeting is Mr. Sterndale will find out more about town meeting. Sean will get costs for maintaining Ledge Farm Road.
I think there was just also something that Chris just noted about the old town hall.
Mr. Sterndale will find out info about Old Town Hall
yeah, the drainage problem.
drainage problem.
Okay, actually hold off till I actually go there and I'll do my own little drainage
Okay,
thing to see
hold
what,
on.
then we can kind of, because we're not opening that building anytime soon anyway, so. Are we?
We shouldn't
There's only, maybe Zumba classes may be headed back in there when they restart, but nothing before the fall.
Okay. But I'm gonna try to get in there to see what my mom's doing for you guys anyways. and give you like a picture update or something that I could send to you all, just to show, in case somebody strongly objects to what's going on, which I don't think anybody will, but just an update. And I'll check on that plumbing just to see what's, how bad it could be or not.
Ben also needs to send whatever he submitted to the community newsletter to the other members of the board.
Yep.
He's trying to log back in, he says. Anybody left in the audience? Steve?
Yeah, I'm still here. I'm still trying to figure out Ledge Farm Road.
We all are, Steve, we all are. Make a recommendation that the vice chair step up and lead
Yeah.
the meeting from here.
Sure.
Oh, I got a note from Ben. Yeah, he's unable to log in, but he said he wanted to thank all the town employees and departments for their professionalism, and also thank the community for their patience and understanding while we still navigate these uncharted waters.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll
I
second
do.
that.
Okay. We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Roll call, all in favor?
I, Donna Danus.
Oh, hi, Tony Dumas.
And
Hi,
I,
Steven
John
Soroff.
Warren.
Good night, guys.
This is over tonight. Thank you guys for everything.
We're good.
And looking forward to talking to you in 2 weeks and finding out more details.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Good night.